Hi, this is Darryn Farrugia from Drumtech. What I'm going to talk about today is just really basically looking at setting up the kit and making sure that you are comfortable with your instrument when you set up behind your instrument. And one of the first things to make sure of is that when you sit down, you're not actually sitting too high or too low. And it's also important to make sure that your posture is good. So one of the first things to determine is your seating height. And for me, I like to have my thighs parallel to the floor. And this is usually where I start. This is the first and most important thing in setting up. The second thing then is also determining where the pedals are. And I think it's important to make sure that the pedals are not too far away from you and both feet are the same distance forward. This helps with your control of the pedals, and also it helps with your balance. I think then the third important thing is making sure that you're happy with the height of the snare drum. And because I play traditional grip, my snare drum is usually a little higher on this side so that I can play a rim shot. So what I like to do is, to make sure that I've got the height of the snare drum correct, is to play a, say, a foot pattern and then play a paradiddle or some sort of accented exercise on the snare drum. And I play those accents using rim shots. So I'll start with this. My knees are not getting in the way of my hands as my feet are moving upwards and my hands are moving downwards. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. The next thing is obviously making sure that you can hit the drums without having to reach too far. Apart from the fact that some people are setting up their drums too far away, I think a lot of times the drums are set up too closely. So one of the things to keep in mind is making sure that you don't have to reach too far to hit anything, and also make sure that you are not too compact. So here's an example of the sort of thing that I would practice here. It's just moving around the drum set, slow tempo, try to be as relaxed as possible. Pretty comfortable for me. And obviously the next part of that is making sure that you can play time comfortably as well. So, you know, right hand for a right-handed drummer, right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare drum. Talking about. So it's very comfortable. I always talk to students about imagining that they're sitting in the driver's seat of a car and making sure that you don't have to reach too far for the gear stick or the steering wheel. You know, you need to be as comfortable as possible so that there's nothing getting in the way of, you know, the journey from point A to point B. Yeah, thank you very much.